My name is Sienna, and I'm 24, living in a cozy suburban home in Atlanta, Georgia. I grew up in a small town a few hours away, where life wasn't exactly picture perfect. My mom worked 2 jobs, waitressing during the day and cleaning offices at night, to make sure we had enough to get by. We didn't have much, but from a young age, I learned that if you want something, you've got to put in the work for it. That's probably why I gave everything I had to my marriage with Mateo, the man I thought would be my forever. He's a first-generation Mexican-American, full of charm and big dreams, with warm brown eyes that made me feel like I was home the first time we met. We got married a couple of years ago, and I promised myself I would build a steady, secure life with him. Everything I didn't have growing up. Mateo's family is very close-knit, and I really wanted to feel like part of it. But there was always this barrier between us, language. He and his mom, Rosa, would switch to Spanish, laughing over memories or family gossip, and I would just smile, feeling like an outsider in my own home. I hated that feeling of being on the outskirts of their world, never fully invited in. So, I decided to do something about it. I started learning Spanish on the down low, taking online courses, practicing with flashcards late at night, even rehearsing in front of the mirror when Mateo wasn't home. I didn't tell him or Rosa because, to be honest, I was shy. What if I messed up a word and they laughed? What if they thought I was trying too hard? But I got pretty good, really good. I could follow their conversations, catch the rhythm of their words, and even understand the little jokes they thought I didn't get. One Sunday, I was buzzing with excitement. Rosa was coming over for dinner, and I'd spent the whole morning in our tiny kitchen chopping peppers and stirring sauce, determined to make a meal that would impress her. I'm a graphic designer by profession, always sketching or refining logos, but cooking is where I put my heart. I wanted Rosa to see me, really see me, as part of the family. Mateo was out picking her up, and I could already picture us sitting around the table, laughing, and maybe even me slipping in a Spanish phrase to surprise them. I had been practicing Gracias por venir, Rosa, all week, imagining how happy she'd be when I got the accent just right. When they walked in, the house smelled of roasted garlic and fresh herbs. Rosa hugged me, her perfume sharp and floral, and said, "Oh Sienna, it's so nice to be here." Her voice was warm, but there was always a bit of an edge to it, like she was sizing me up. She handed me a bag of bagels and croissants, her go-to for our little gatherings, and I thanked her, setting them on the counter. Mateo kissed me on the cheek, his hand lingering on my shoulder. For a brief moment, everything felt perfect. "Food's almost ready," I called out, stirring the pot one last time. "You guys sit, I'll bring it over." As I plated the food, I heard them talking in the living room, their voices low, slipping into Spanish. At first, I didn't think much of it. Mateo and Rosa always did that when they were caught up in conversation. But then, I caught a few words that made my stomach drop. "Her cooking," Rosa said, her tone sharp. "Why didn't you make the food, Mateo?" My heart sank. I had spent hours on that meal, choosing recipes I thought she would love. I froze, ladle in hand, straining to hear more. Mateo's voice followed, soft but firm. "Don't worry, Mama. I'll handle most of it. We don't need her messing it up." I stood there, the steam from the pot warming my face, but inside I felt cold. Messing it up. Rosa had always praised my cooking, telling me it reminded her of home. Had she been lying? And Mateo, my Mateo, was going along with it. I wanted to storm into the living room and demand to know what they meant, but something held me back. Maybe it was the years of feeling like I had to prove myself. Or maybe it was the fear of hearing something I couldn't unhear. Instead, I took a deep breath, grabbed my phone, and opened the translation app I'd used to practice Spanish. I needed to be sure I wasn't just imagining things. I carried the plates to the dining room, forcing a smile as I set them down. Rosa sat at the table, her dark hair pulled back tight, sipping tea like she was judging a pageant. Mateo leaned back in his chair, scrolling through his phone, but his eyes met mine for a moment, and for a second, I thought I saw guilt. "Smells amazing, babe," he said. His words felt empty after what I had just overheard. I nodded, sitting across from them. My phone, hidden beneath the table, was still running the translation app, catching every word. Rosa switched back to Spanish, her voice dropping to a low murmur. "I can't stand her cooking, Mateo. Why are we here eating this when we could be at a cafe? My chest tightened, but I kept my face calm, stirring my tea as if I hadn't heard anything. Mateo sighed. Mama, we agreed to speak English so Sienna wouldn't feel left out. Remember? Rosa laughed a sharp, almost mocking sound, waving her hand dismissively. Forgive me, Joe. I was just saying how good this looks, Sienna. She gave me a smile, all teeth, and I felt an overwhelming urge to scream. She was lying straight to my face, and Mateo was letting her get away with it. Oh, don't worry, I replied, my voice steady despite the growing tension in my stomach. You can speak whatever feels natural. I'm fine. I wanted them to keep talking, to dig their own hole. Rosa raised an eyebrow, as though testing me, then leaned toward Mateo. We need to discuss the plan, she said in Spanish, her words quick and urgent. Tomorrow's the day, Mateo. We need to be ready. My heart raced. What plan? I glanced at my phone, confirming the translation. Mateo hissed. Not now, Mama. I'll handle it. But Rosa wasn't letting it go. Frank's cabin in the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's ours if we get there first. Your cousin is snooping around, and we can't let him beat us. I almost dropped my spoon. Frank, Mateo's great-uncle, owned a beautiful cabin in North Georgia. The kind of place you only see in magazines, with log walls, a wraparound porch, and views that could make you forget the world. I'd met Frank a few times. He'd always been kind to me, telling stories about his real estate days over coffee, saying I reminded him of his younger self. He'd promised the cabin to someone in the family, someone who deserved it. I thought Mateo and I were building a life together, that we'd share dreams like this. But now they were planning to take it from under my nose. Mateo's voice dropped low. She doesn't know, Mama. I told her I'm going out of town for work. Rosa smirked. Good. She's too busy with her little designs to notice. Just look at her, glued to her phone. I bit my lip, pretending to scroll, my hands trembling. They thought I was stupid, clueless even. Then Rosa said something that hit harder than everything else. You're too young for her, Mateo. That cabin's our way out. We can sell it and live free. Why stay stuck with her? Mateo didn't argue. He just said, I know, Mama. I'm tired of this life. The cabin's my way out. My throat burned, and tears stung my eyes, but I refused to break down. Not yet. Growing up, I'd learned how to swallow hurt. When kids mocked me for wearing thrift store clothes. When my mom was too tired to notice I needed her. But this was worse. The man I loved, the one I'd learned Spanish for, wanted to escape me, and his mother was cheering him on. I excused myself, mumbling something about checking on dessert, and slipped into the kitchen. My hands shook, but my mind raced. I wasn't going to let them walk all over me. I paced by the counter, my eyes landing on Rosa's purse, carelessly left open. My heart thudded, but I didn't hesitate. I grabbed her phone, no passcode. Thank God. I found Frank's number in her contacts and sent it to myself, then deleted the message from her phone, my fingers moving on their own. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do with it, but I knew I needed leverage. Back at the table they were still talking, completely unaware, their voices thick with smugness. I hit record on my app, capturing every word, every insult. If they were going to betray me, I was going to make sure they paid. Back at the table, I kept my head down, picking at my food while my phone recorded everything Mateo and Rosa thought I couldn't understand. My heart was a tangled mess. Part of me wanted to throw the plates at them and demand answers. But the part of me that had grown up scraping by, always planning one step ahead, told me to stay calm. I'd learned that from my mom. How she juggled bills and still found a way to smile. If I was going to outsmart them, I needed more than just their words. I needed proof and a plan. Rosa was still going on in Spanish, her voice sharp and authoritative. The flight's tomorrow. It was early afternoon when I heard Mateo's voice. He looked at me, giving me a glance as if I were just another part of the room. Yet it's under control. I'll say it's for work. She's too caught up in her projects to question it. I tried to smile, handing him the sugar, trying to act casual. But inside I was burning with anger. How could he speak about me like that? Like I was just some inconvenience he couldn't wait to shake off. Then Rosa leaned in, her eyes gleaming. Frank's cabin is worth a fortune. We fix it up, sell it, and we're set. No more scraping by at the bakery. You can leave this life, Mateo. Start fresh. Find someone who really fits you. My stomach twisted. All those nights I'd stayed up late, adjusting designs to make ends meet, thinking we were building something together. And here they were, planning to cash in on a future that didn't even have me in it. I excused myself again, saying I needed more napkins, and slipped into the kitchen. My phone was still recording, tucked safely in my pocket, but I needed more. When I came back, I noticed Mateo had left his phone on the table while he helped Rosa with her chair. My pulse quickened. This was my chance. I pretended to clear a plate, brushing past his phone, and saw an open email with flight details. There wasn't time to read it properly, but I heard Rosa ask, "What's your laptop password again? I want to check the tickets." Mateo muttered, "It's Blue Ridge Dreams 22. Don't tell anyone." I froze, committing the password to memory, my mind already racing with possibilities. That night, after Rosa had left and Mateo was asleep on the couch, I snuck into our home office. My hands trembled as I opened his laptop and typed in the password. Sure enough, the flight details were there. Atlanta to Asheville, leaving the next afternoon. I felt a mixture of guilt and defiance. With a sense of resolve, I logged into the airline website and changed the flight to 2 days later. It wasn't much, but it would buy me time. I closed the laptop, my heart pounding like I had just run a marathon. This wasn't just a reaction anymore. I was fighting back. Before bed, I texted Frank from Rosa's phone. "Hey, it's Sienna. Can we talk tomorrow? It's important." I didn't want to risk spilling everything over text, so I kept it brief. Instead, I lay awake, replaying their words in my head. Too young for her, Rosa had said. Start over, she urged him. I thought about the day Mateo proposed under the peach tree, vowing we'd face everything together. Had that been a lie too? Tears welled in my eyes, but I blinked them away. I'd cried enough growing up, waiting for things to change. This time I was going to make it happen. The next morning, I woke up before Mateo and turned off his alarm. It felt petty, but I wanted him to feel the chaos he had planned for me. I packed a small bag and left for a downtown hotel, telling myself I couldn't stay in a house built on lies. As I drove through Atlanta's bustling streets, the weight of everything I had heard settled in. But so did a spark of resolve. I wasn't the naive girl they thought I was. I had fought too long and worked too hard to let them take everything from me. By the time I checked into the hotel, I was ready to call Frank and lay everything out. The room was quiet, with only the hum of the AC and the distant noise of traffic outside. Sitting on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, I stared at Frank's number. My stomach twisted, but I couldn't back down now. I had it all recorded. Mateo and Rosa's plan to take the Blue Ridge cabin, their insults, their smug laughter, proof of the betrayal that had shattered the life I thought we had. I took a deep breath and dialed Frank. "Sienna, darling, what's going on?" Frank's voice was warm, like it always was, but there was concern in it too. He'd always been kind, sharing stories from his real estate days, telling me I had the grit to make it big. I spilled it all. The dinner, the Spanish I wasn't meant to understand, the plan to cut me out of the cabin deal. My voice cracked as I described how Mateo wanted to escape from. "She called me a burden," I whispered. "I'm sending you the recordings," I added, my hands trembling as I pressed send. "Listen to them, Frank. Please." We ended the call so he could listen to the evidence, and I paced the room, my thoughts racing. What if he didn't believe me? What if he thought I was making it up? But when Frank called back, his voice was weighed down, as if years had been added to him. "Sienna, I feel sick to my stomach. Mateo and Rosa, they were family. How could they do this to you?" I swallowed, a mix of relief and pain settling in my chest. "I don't know, Frank. I thought I was part of their family too." He didn't hesitate. "That cabin's yours, Sienna. I was going to pass it to someone who'd appreciate it, someone with a good heart. That's you, not them. They're not getting a penny." I was speechless, my mouth dry. "Frank, I don't know what to say." He let out a sad chuckle. "You don't have to say anything. You're tough as nails, kid. Don't let their ugliness dim your shine." We spoke a bit more, and he promised to ignore their calls. I thanked him, my voice thick, and hung up, feeling like I'd just won a battle I never wanted to fight. That morning, I knew Mateo would wake up to chaos. I turned off his alarm, and with their flight delayed, he'd be scrambling. Sure enough, around noon, my phone buzzed with Mateo's name. I let it ring twice before picking up, keeping my tone calm. Hey, what's up? Mateo sounded frantic. Sienna, where are you? My alarm didn't go off, and I'm late for a meeting with Mama. Why did you leave? I could hear the hustle of the airport in the background, the voices and announcements echoing. Oh, I just needed a little time for myself, I said casually, as if I hadn't just flipped his world upside down. You seemed busy, so I thought you wouldn't mind. He muttered something about needing a heads up, but I cut him off. Yeah, a heads up would have been nice for me too, Mateo. There was a long pause, then I could almost hear his brain processing. Before he could speak, Rosa's panicked voice came through. Sienna, what did you do? I know you mess with our flight. I settled back against the hotel pillow, a calmness spreading through me. If by mess with you mean change the date to help you out, then yes, I did. I heard you needed Mateo's help moving stuff, so I thought you'd want more time. Rosa sputtered, but Mateo grabbed the phone. Sienna, stop this. It's not funny. Uncle Frank's not answering. I interrupted him. My voice was steady cold. He's not answering because he knows Mateo. I told him everything. I heard you and Rosa in Spanish planning to take the cabin, and talking about how you can't stand me. I understood every word. The line fell silent, just the sound of their heavy breathing. I could picture Mateo, pale, his usual charm shattered. You've been learning Spanish? He asked quietly. Yeah. I said, a mix of pride and pain filling my chest. I wanted to get closer to you, to your family, but I guess that was a one-way street. Rosa's voice trembled. Sienna, we didn't mean. But I wasn't having it. Save it, Rosa. You both made your choice. Frank's giving me the cabin, and I'm done with you. I'm filing for divorce. I ended the call before they could respond, my hands shaking, but my heart felt steady. For the first time in days, I could finally breathe again. The Blue Ridge Mountains stretched out before me, rolling green peaks veiled in mist. As I drove up to the cabin, it was even more beautiful than I'd imagined. The log walls gleamed in the sunlight, the porch inviting, begging for a rocking chair and a glass of sweet tea. Inside, it was warm and open, the kind of place that felt like a hug. Frank had given me the keys a few days after our conversation, and I'd spent every moment since moving in, making it my own. I hung bright prints I designed, draped cozy blankets my mom had sent as a housewarming gift. Every nail I hammered, every shelf I arranged felt like a declaration. I was here, and I wasn't going anywhere. Mateo and Rosa didn't take it well. My phone buzzed with angry texts from Rosa, pleading messages from Mateo, and even threats to take back what they claimed was theirs. I didn't flinch. Every time they tried to intimidate me, I sent back a photo. A sunny shot of the porch, the fireplace glowing at night, the view of the mountains from my bedroom window. This is mine now, I'd write, and I could almost feel their frustration through the screen. Revenge wasn't something I'd ever sought, but damn, it felt good to let them stew in their own mess. One evening, sitting in the living room with a mug of coffee, I let myself reflect on everything. I remembered the girl I once was, the one who thought love meant giving everything, even when it hurt. I had learned Spanish from Mateo, stayed up late perfecting recipes for Rosa, all in an effort to build a family I thought we shared. Their words still stung. Too young for her, start over, too busy with her little designs. But the pain was starting to fade, replaced by something stronger. I'd fought for myself, just like I fought through a childhood of empty cupboards and hand-me-downs. This cabin wasn't just a house. It was proof I could stand up to betrayal and come out victorious. One night, Frank called, his voice full of warmth. How's the cabin treating you, Sienna? I smiled, taking in the space I'd made my own. It's perfect, Frank. I can't thank you enough. He chuckled. You earned it, kid. You've got heart and guts. Never forget that. Maybe take a trip somewhere. Clear your head. Savannah's nice this time of year. I laughed, the thought stirring something in me. You know, I might just do that. After hanging up, I felt a peace I hadn't known in years. The future was wide open. Maybe I'd travel. Maybe I'd dive deeper into my designs. Maybe I'd just sit on this porch and watch the world go by. Whatever came next, I knew I was enough. Mateo and Rosa could keep their bitterness. I was done carrying it. This cabin, this life, was my victory, built on my own strength. To everyone who's followed this journey, thank you. You've been with me through the hurt, the fight, and the moment I took my life back. If this story moved you, hit that subscribe button and join me. Every corner of this cabin, every step I take is a story of grit, heartbreak, and starting over. Keep chasing your own truth, and I'll see you on the other side.